Welcome back to my shop. My name is Dustin. Today we're going to make something with this piece of old growth redwood. You're going to have to stick with me. This doesn't look like much yet, but I do have an idea. We're going to make a little square mold. So this is just a little MDF piece of scrap that's 15 by 16 inches. I will be using this as the bottom of my mold, so I'm going to line it with Tyvek tape, and then I'll make some walls. So I'm starting to put the mold together. I've got two of the side pieces that I'm going to get buttoned on there, and then I'll take some measurements and cut the other two sides. I'm just going to shoot some brad nails into it to help align my boards. I'm going to use some CA glue and get it stuck down. Whoop. Cool. So I think I've got the wood in there the way that I'm going to pour it, but this is eventually going to be cut into a circle, about a 14-inch circle. So I'm taking some measurements and I'm going to put some marks here on the mold, and then I'll cut some 45s to place in there to create a dam or a little wall, so I'm not pouring unnecessary epoxy. Stuff's kind of expensive. I am going to seal this one with super glue. Or hot glue, excuse me. Well, that's that. This has been pretty quick and easy this morning, and I'm not done yet. I got a little ahead of myself and forgot to seal the edges with epoxy before I put it in the mold. I can still pull it back apart and do it, but I don't think I need to go that far. I'm gonna mix up some quick setting epoxy, seal the edges, and let it set up for a bit, and then I'll do an epoxy pour. This is just some System 3 quick cure that I'll use my hands, and I'll just rub it into the live edge. We're going to give that about 30 minutes to set up, and then it should be pretty close to be ready to pour. I've got some deep pour epoxy, and you know I'm pouring this in the house in the gear room. It's very good, comfortable weather out here right now, but it's just a little too cold for it to cure right. So we'll pour it in the house like I've done a few times. So I have a tendency to over pour big time, so I think what I've done now is I'm going to under pour, but that's fine. I'm going to get this bucket poured in here. Hopefully I don't have any leaks. Yeah, it'll need more epoxy. I'm probably going to put about 30 or 40 more ounces in it, but before I do that, I'm going to probably let this tack up. It should be ready for another pour tomorrow night. All right, it's been about 16 hours. We're going to do the second pour. I'm going to do this in 2 pours just so I don't over pour epoxy. I'm tired of using too much epoxy. It's so expensive. Well, that pretty much topped it off, so that's cool. I'll flatten it on the router sled and it'll look great, hopefully. But it's a waiting game at this point. It should be ready to work some more in about 3 days, so we'll see it in about 3 days when I will remove it from the mold, flatten it, make it a circle, and start turning this into a clock. It has been 5 days since I poured this, and it is time to break this thing free and remove it from the mold. We'll see how that goes. There we go. Oh boy. Yeah, we're gonna have to flatten this thing. So I've got some gold epoxy mixed up. Might not be enough, but if it isn't, that's okay. Alright, so that is quick curing epoxy that I just poured in there. That should set up here in maybe 30 minutes, and it should be sandable so I can sand it back down flat and flush, hopefully in the next hour or so. So I almost used Rubio monocoat, but I decided I am going to do an epoxy flood coat. This redwood is pretty soft, so it'll probably take a coat or two, but I should have enough epoxy left. And before I do the pour, I'm going to use this tack cloth and clean it up. It is time to fit that motor into that clock right there. So boring this hole for the motor could have been done with a router and a template also. I chose to use the Forstner bit on the drill press and just cleaned it up with some chisels. We'll see if it fits. I think that's enough. So I got the clock kit put in there, it's installed. I got some mounting hardware right here. And here's what it looks like. There's a battery in it, time is right, and it's ticking. Turned out beautiful.